Good morning, guys. Welcome to Hill. Are you the man from the podcast?
Why, yes, I am. Are you a fan of the show? Do you watch it?
No.
Oh, well, okay. It's not for everybody.
A few moments later.
Is that how the chef sent this out?
Yes, the chef saw your podcast.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of Houston County News. I'm messenger reporter Greg Ritchie. Wait a minute. Yes, I am Greg Ritchie. It's nice to have you along the show, and we've got a fun show coming up today. But first, let's say good morning, as we almost always do. Say good morning to Kendall Hickson.
Good morning.
Allergies messing you up today?
Yes, sir.
Me too. They're killing me. Every fall and spring, right when the weather starts to shift,
Yes.
it's like God gives me a big balloon in my skull, like somewhere right here,
Oh,
and the
geez.
head hurts, and I can't breathe, and I'm putting sprays and lotions and things to just clear it out. I wear one of those nerdy Band-Aids at night.
No way.
You know what I mean? To like get it
Yes.
open. Lots of bleeding from the ears and eyes.
Oh,
like
oh.
a lot.
Oh,
I probably should ask the doctor about that.
maybe so.
Now, prom time. It's in the air.
Yeah.
I knew some people that had a great time at the Crockett prom. My wife and I were driving around Grapeland and ran into a Grapeland boy and a girl from Slocum that we know out on the main drag, sort of taking pictures in their dress and their suit, looking very nice. Love Lady prom was just this past weekend. Are you going to any of these proms?
I was at the one in Lovelady last night.
Well, how was that?
It was wonderful.
Now, are you going as a rodeo queen or as somebody's date, or how did that work out?
Somebody's date.
Oh, that's very sweet. Well, we were talking earlier, and now a lot of you may not know, I claim to play a few instruments, a little guitar, a little bass. I never claimed to play them well, but I do claim to play them. It's somebody that plays obviously well enough to be a teacher, right?
Yes.
And I haven't gotten her to actually play anything for us here, but I actually suspended right above your head.
Oh.
You never knew this.
Oh.
There's a grand piano.
Oh, really?
And at any time, there's a button, and it will come. You might want to move a little to your left. Actually, no. Tell me about you. You play piano.
Yes, sir. I play piano, violin, and I tried the flute out one time. That did not work out very good. And then I also...
No woodwinds.
No.
Yeah.
And then I have started to pick up playing harp now.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Now, okay, this is going to be a stupid question, but here goes.
Okay.
I always want to know, what's the difference between a violin and a fiddle?
A violin and a fiddle, the difference is the strings. There's strings on violin and there's strings on the fiddle.
So it's just whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
So the difference between like a guitar and a guitar is just whoever's, give me that guitar. And you teach students, like you actually teach.
Yes,
What's
sir.
the hardest? I took a couple piano lessons. And I kicked myself out before the teacher could because I knew it was coming. I just lift your wrists and I hated using my thumbs because I kind of play piano like I type sort of. What's the hardest part?
For the hardest part teaching is, I guess, I enjoy the little kids I teach so much. I just want to talk to them. Instead of like teaching, I just love hearing what they have to say and about how school was. And they just have the greatest stories to talk about. So I guess the hardest thing is actually playing piano.
Discharging their parents with a straight face.
Yes.
You teach them like hamster on a piano.
What do you mean?
I'm going to show that video right now.
Hamster on a piano. Hamster on a piano. Hamster on a piano. Eating popcorn on a piano. Hamster on a piano. Hamster on a piano. Hamster on a piano. Eating popcorn on a piano.
Well, hey, if your kids or grandkids need little music lessons, right?
Yes.
She teaches the piano or the fiddle.
All right, now it's just piano
You
lessons.
don't teach them to
I did teach.
hog them strines?
I can teach violin. It's just a little bit harder because then the kid has to get violin too.
Well, yeah, right. Well, how about this? Let's promise before the end of April,
Okay.
you will play something on the podcast.
I will-
Piano,
I will try.
violin, harp,
I will try.
harmonica, sing a bit of blues. You going to the blues festival this year?
Yes, I am.
I will see you there. I will be judging the dog contest.
Oh.
They figured I would know a lot about that. But I'm going to do my best, and I do accept bribes. So, I mean, I'm just being open and honest with you folks. And Brian Lake out there asked me if I would play my guitar and sing a couple blues songs.
Oh, really?
And I said, well, as a matter of fact, nope, not going to do that. And you know why, Kendall? Because I love you folks too much to put you through that. We do appreciate you being on the program today, folks. Keith Smith from Top Church out in Kennard has written a book. And I'm not sure what all is in it. Of course, we've had him in the newspaper several times. He's been over to Nigeria. He knows princes. He's done some amazing stuff. We thought it'd be a great time for him to come on and talk to him. Also, we'll talk a little bit of election stuff. And we're going to have Peyton Pierce here later on with sports. We'll get started on all that right after this.
Camp Street Blues comes to historic downtown Crockett April 24th and 25th. Friday night in Bear Hall, Texas Flood brings the music of Stevie Ray Vaughan. Saturday is the Car and Truck Show and Shine, Artist Walk, and the Blues Dog Parade at 11. Enjoy live music at the Crossroads Stage. Food trucks and Stetsty will be there with great refreshments. At 3, the Camp Street Stage kicks off with the Community Gospel Choir, and then Mustang Red, the Misty Blues Band, Sue Foley and the Headliners, the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Tickets at Discover Crockett, Texas, or at the gate.
My name's Rachel Thompson. I'm the assistant plant manager at Wahoo. I specialize in poultry rendering, and I wanted to grow, so I heard about Darling being a bigger rendering company, and I came here for the growth that it offers. Women in this industry have come a long way, and thanks to Darling, here we are. You know, we're taking over poultry and doing it right, so I love Darling.
Ladies and gentlemen, local elections coming up May the 2nd. Early voting begins here pretty quick. And we want to put some graphics on the screen and let you see all the local election information that's coming up. We've got City of Crockett. We've got local schools. We've got City of Grapeland, all kind of stuff that you're going to want to get out and vote. Folks, these are the elections. Honestly. And I know it's fun. You know, Trump and Kamala and all the national stuff and all the rest of it. But really, these are the elections that really every day affect your lives. It's how much you pay in property tax. It's what kind of streets and roads. It's what kind of schools we have. Up in Elkhart, I talked to the superintendent this week. They got a big bond issue coming up. Looks like a pretty interesting project for those of you along that northern edge of Houston County, southern edge of Anderson County. I encourage you to look into it. And whether you decide you're super for it or super against it, go vote. They've had plenty of public meetings. If you're just now finding out about it, there's a whole website you can find out, come up with your own thoughts, but go vote for that kind of stuff because, folks, this is our country. This is our town. This is our county. This is where we live. If we're not willing to go vote and participate in these kind of things, well, what in the world are we willing to do?
At Davy Crockett Grill, food isn't just what we serve, it's our passion. From pizza and catfish to pulled pork, burgers and steaks, and those free pork cracklings to snack on. This is home-style cooking done right.
Come see us at Davy Crockett Grill.
For comfort you can taste.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show.
Houston County Sports!
Good morning with your Houston County News Sports Update. I'm Peyton Pierce. The Texo came up short against a strong Normandy squad, falling 10-1 earlier this week. Grapeland used a big 6th inning to pull away from Lovelady 13-4. Diego Fajardo powered the Sandies with a 3-run homer, while Lovelady stayed competitive early and continues to battle in district play. Grapeland played the Texo Friday. The Lovelady Lions had a standout week, shutting out Latexo 10-0. They've now secured the district championship and took on Groveton on Friday. It was a challenging stretch for Latexo, including a matchup with a tough Slocum team. Slocum continues to roll, picking up impressive wins over Oakwood and Latexo this past week. Chloe Bailey has been dominant, leading the way both on the mound and at the plate. A big week for Crockett ISD, as both the Bulldogs and Lady Bulldogs are sending athletes to the regional meet. The boys' 4x200 relay team and area champion Davion Walker headlined the qualifiers, while the girls' 4x100 relay team advances alongside Emery Sims, who won both the 100 and 200 meter titles. They'll compete May 1st and 2nd in Huntsville. And congratulations to Latexo Lady Tiger Golf, heading back to the state tournament after a strong second place finish at regionals. The team missed first by just one stroke, with multiple players posting personal best rounds, an impressive showing as they prepare for state. And with your Houston County News Sports Update, I'm Peyton Pierce. Catch you next week.
Houston County, Texas is a lot of things. It's our amazing cities and towns, Davy Crockett National Forest, and our fields and streams. It's cattle and lumber, manufacturing and tech support. It's national brands and mom and pops. It's our churches and it's our schools. For many of us, Houston County is home. Come visit us and see for yourself what makes this place special. Houston County, first in Texas history, first in our heart. Looking for powerful equipment at a price that works? Don't miss the tractor and heavy equipment sale at Greater Lufkin Auto Auction. May 9th at high noon, open to the public, with lightly used farm and heavy machinery ready to work when you are. Browse the inventory online and get ready to bid. Greater Lufkin Auto Auction. Big machines, bigger savings.
Well, folks, good morning. Welcome back to the show. And we have a special guest this week. It's our old pal, Keith Smith. And I say Keith very carefully. Pastor Smith, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
You may not remember this. The first time I ever wrote about you, we had a picture of you.
Right.
And somebody, not me, but somebody had written Kevin. Do you remember this?
I do.
And we talked later and you said, by the way, it's Keith. And I said, yes, I know it is. And you said, well, somebody wrote Kevin. I said, oh, no, they didn't. And that's God's way of keeping me humble. And,
I hear you.
Now, Pastor Smith's an old friend. We've covered him a lot in the newspaper because he's got a lot going on. And if you're not familiar with TOP, Tabernacle of Praise out in Kennard.
That's right.
You know, I've tried when I've told people to go out there and check you guys out. I never really know exactly how to describe it or explain it, and that's it's a compliment. There's the mission, there's the message, but the music is almost hypnotic. The quality of the music and just the way it all comes together. It's amazing. And people come from all over East Texas.
They do.
What's going on new at TOP these days?
Wow. Well, thanks, Greg. It's an honor to be with you today. And thanks for those kind words about TOP. You know, TOP, as we warmly refer to it, you know, as you mentioned, Tabernacle of Praise in Kennard. It's just I could say it this way. It's just a collage of believers that have diverse backgrounds of religion and Christianity and what they were maybe raised in or searched for. And we come together with a single, purpose in mind, and, to magnify, to honor God and to be his hands, feet, and, in the word. And so, yeah, things are going well. We're doing good.
Well, remind us again of how, because I remember once I was there when you burned the mortgage, I think.
We did. That's right. You were.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And give us kind of a brief history of you and your background and how your family kind of found TOP and Kennard and all the.
Absolutely. I'll give you the cliff note to that. Right. So this is I just completed 40 years of ministry. So I'm what they call in in the ring of PK. I'm a preacher's kid. So my parents, my dad was a pastor my whole life. He's been a pastor. So raised that way, right? And we were pastoring for a long time. And then 14 years ago, this month actually finishes up 14 years. We received a call to come to Kennard to the little white wood frame 1950 model church, 42 people, and we did. It was the will of God. We took it, and just a year later, we started to build the new building that you saw that we burned the note on. It took us about a year and a half to build. Came in it, and God bless us, right around 18,000 square feet building there in Kennard, and the Lord bless us. We were able to have that note burning, very, very early on in our commitment. So things are going well, and the Lord's doing good things, and
With that kind of growth, there's always, at least from an outsider point of view, there's always kind of this inner struggle I've seen with some congregations and pastors. Of keeping the message, pure.
Yeah, sure.
For the purism,
Sure.
but also having the flexibility to not necessarily adapt the message per se, but adapt the approach maybe to make sure that churches are fresh and inviting and keeping new people in. And this is probably a silly question, a philosophical one, but I mean, is there a balance, or how do you strike that balance?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, actually. It's one I really want to have at the forefront of our heart and mind, and we try to do that. Sometimes we have a pretty good batting average, and sometimes we swing and miss, but at least we're swinging, right? So you're absolutely right. We want to be relevant to our time. We want it to make sense. We want it to what message is being preached, our culture, our DNA, if you will. We want it to be applicable to what people are experiencing in this day and hour. At the same time, we don't want to shy away from the unchanging, the perfect truths of the Word of God that are steadfast and timeless.
Now, you'll stop me if I tell a lie, but I invite Pastor Smith to come and do all kind of things or call him and stuff, and most of the time he says, "Well, I'm in Uganda, but I'll be back next week, or I'm over in the Philippines." Now, thanks to you, I actually met a king of Uganda.
You sure did,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So tell me this international ministry and some of the recognition and honors you've received doing that.
Yeah, thanks. Real quick, I'm gonna give you like a 10-second, 15-second little excerpt. 40 years ago, when I really knew that God was calling me to ministry, I was in a deep prayer with the Lord, and in my mind, I seen a visual. I'm kind of that way. I see visually. It kind of helps me, right? And so I saw like what would be like a timeline, with up marks on the line and marks below. I knew the ones below were going to be difficult times, but I knew in my heart that it was my ministry tenure time, and way down at the end, I saw something that I felt the Lord speak to me was abroad, overseas. And so through the years, when I would get to go preach a conference or go on a missions trip, I would think, is this it?
Yeah.
But about 5 years ago, the Lord really started opening that door. And so about 3 years ago, we went to Uganda. I had an invitation to go there to King Oyo's, the youngest monarch in the world. And I got to go to his coronation. And it was from there things started opening up. We had crusade, obviously. We had a lot of people come to the Lord. There was divine healings. We ended up building a brand new, beautiful orphanage that houses 30 children that were rescued from a refugee camp there in Uganda. So that's huge, man. That's exciting.
Doing the Lord's work in the real world. Now, as long as your vision, there's going to be the 7 fat years and lean years. As long as you're going into it, you see that.
Right.
Now, you have brought me something today, and I want to show it to the folks here. It's called Rediscovering Church, Finding Healing, Purpose, and Family in God's House. And it's even autographed. Thank you very much for that. But it's written by, I know this guy.
I've heard of him.
I heard of this guy.
Yeah.
Now, as somebody that has to write 2 newspapers a week, I can't imagine the amount of effort. I mean, the writing is the easy part. It's the staring down the blank page and, okay, where do I go next? But no, I already covered that here. So how do let me scratch that out.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Talk me through what this was like.
Okay, absolutely. This book it came together, it started about 5 years ago, honestly. I started right around the pandemic. Actually, in me to write a book for years, and I've wrote a chapter here and a chapter there, you know, Greg, and the cursors are still blinking. You know, none of that happened. But so when after the pandemic, when we began to see, you know, isolation, but we knew that really wasn't what God's plan for humanity. You know, God said in Genesis, where there's God, there's Adam, there's a Garden of Eden. I mean, you can't draw it up any better than that, right? They're hanging out together, they're naming stuff, you know. And God said, it's not good that man be alone. He wasn't alone. He was with God, but God was talking about humanity, isolation. And so in the pandemic, we isolated. So I was really, you know, really started doing some stuff, and I never could just get it to flow together. So it was just a bunch of little notes here and there, and just little notes. In the beginning of last year, the Lord really spoke to me hard about putting that stuff together. And I, you know, to be honest with you, I thought, okay, this is going to be just like the other 3 books I've tried to write. That's just, you know, the cursor's still blinking, you know. Yeah. And so I went back, obviously, and took all my notes that I had written through the pandemic and different things here and there, you know, my journal, and started putting that stuff together. Then I was like, all this looks like is a bunch of preacher notes. So then, you know, but I really felt an urge, and then from there it just started flowing. Man, my wife said that I did not sleep before 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, because by the time we get through with church work and settle down, things get quiet, you know, it's 10, 11, you know, then you're just typing away. And so it just started really coming together.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of half art and half science, I've found, writing, because I've started 100 books.
Yeah,
finished none. You know how that goes. And had 1,000 ideas for more. But the art of it is the idea.
Yes.
And the inspiration and you can just see the science is that discipline.
Yes.
Actually sit, and people don't understand this until they faced it, but there's nothing more intimidating than a blank piece of paper on a screen, and you go, okay. But you know, one thing I never thought I would ever be a writer, and one thing the newspapers taught me is I don't get a choice now. Twice a week, I have to sit down and bang out 12, 15,000 words.
Absolutely.
And so if I ever get a great idea again, which I probably won't, they're probably all in my past.
Sure you will.
I've got that discipline now to at least sit down. Was it planned out? Was it stream of consciousness? You went back and banged it into shape, or how did the process?
Yeah. So when I really felt like I just could not get away from that feeling that, hey, you need to write this, you know, you need to put this in book form. And I reached out to a couple of my dear friends who have written a few books. And I was like, okay, I've tried this before. Give me something to do. And I mean, you know, something that I can, you know, hang my anchor on.
Little pieces of the pie.
And here's overwhelmingly across the board, every one of them said this one consistent thing. And that was what you just said. Discipline yourself. Say, look, I'm going to give 2 hours or 3 hours. I don't care if I sit there and watch it blink, the cursor blink for 2 hours. I'm doing 2 hours without moving. And so once I kind of made my mind up for that, then obviously all the notes I had written before, you know, put them into the document. It looks horrible. It doesn't flow. Right. It doesn't rhyme. And then when I started putting it together, not that rhyming makes them really, that's not really the point, but you understand what I mean.
Sure.
And so then it just started happening, and I know the Lord helped me with that. And so once I got into that rhythm, you know, but also I think for me was keeping at the frontal lobe of my mind the overall perspective of what the book was supposed to be about.
Well, that's my next question. What is this book about?
Yeah, obviously Rediscovering Church is not about a structure, a brick and mortar. The church is you and I. It's the people, the God's people, and God has always intended that. You know, the church is messy. What I mean by that is we are messy, right? We've got all kinds of stuff. You know, we come to it messy. The church is messy. But the idea of church is perfect, and the reason is because it's Christ's idea. And you know, Jesus said that in Matthew. He said, "I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." So there's some 3 powerful things there. First of all, Jesus said, "I will build." So we straight up my church. So we know it's his church. So he's the builder. It belongs to him, and it will prevail. And so while we go through all this stuff, the church is the God's gift to his people on earth for community, for connection, for formation, for all of those things, healing.
Well, you talk about, healing and finding your purpose. But, you know, one thing that ties in from what we were talking about earlier, COVID really did separate people. But it's only getting worse. I mean, I taught a year of high school last year. And there were kids that told me that I have a girlfriend. And I said, oh, is it the kid here at school or something? Well, she's AI. And I talk online to her, and I thought,
Are you serious?
Not joking at all.
Wow.
And there are apps now dedicated to lonely people and you can program the person up. You know, the problem with that is not only is it, you know, I think if an alien was watching me, you know, that would be me in a dark room looking at a little shiny box.
Right.
What does he do all day?
Right, yeah.
But the second thing is this idea of programming people to respond in, you know, that feels so far from any sense of community or anything healthy, mind, spirit, body. When you talk about healing and purpose and family, what did writing the book teach you or reveal to you, or what are you revealing?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Lord brought back to my mind something that happened to me when I was 30 years old. I was a young preacher, married, my wife and I. We had our daughter. She was about a year old at that time. And, you know, just had everything ready to go, working, you know, preaching, doing all the stuff, had all the dreams and all the energy for those dreams. Sure. And I was working on a ladder, and the ladder, anyways, I fell off that and crushed my right ankle. And 2 years on crutches, 7 surgeries. It was a dark, dark time for me. And
Preach to the choir on that one.
Yeah, and the Lord, you do know, don't you? And the Lord, you know what supported me was the community, the people, my church family. They didn't take the pain away, but they were there for me and with me through it. And the Lord just brought that back. And Greg, it was a really kind of cool, but I almost felt like in my mind, I remembered some of that intense pain, you know, both physically and emotionally. And I also remember then God would bring back moments where I remember conversations with people where they were there with us and et cetera. And I realized this is what the church is about. You know what? The people don't not believe in the Lord and don't believe in God anymore. That's not the problem. The problem is they've either been disillusioned or hurt, and we all have, or confused. You know, there's a myriad of plethora of ideology that's out there. And so at the end of the day, that's the messy stuff. At the end of the day, God still put us together. And we can get healed there, we can get saved there, and we can get community there. And so with the pandemic, and after that, we're still isolated. People are still so, a girlfriend, an AI girl. I mean, what?
I wish that was a joke.
So that's what it's not.
And even when they're real, my boyfriend, I've never met him. He lives in the Netherlands, and we chat online.
The book is not a strike or a hit against religion.
Right.
It's not against that. It's a very. I try to do it from a very real purpose and approach that says, hey, well, it's not about that. It's about honesty. I'm super honest in the book, super honest. I talk about the things, my thoughts, my questions, my confusions.
You almost have to be, though, don't you? People pick up on,
Yeah.
Well, I love this idea of the church is more than just a physical building.
Yeah.
An idea, a concept. Obviously, I've not read it. I just got it in my fat little fingers, but
hopefully you'll enjoy it.
The church is imperfect. The calling is eternal. And the story is still unfolding. That looks really good. Where can we get these?
Okay, yeah. So you can go to my website. My daughter designed my website for it. A little shout out to Lakin there. Sure. But she's really good at that. She is revkeithsmith.com. Okay. There's a link there.
We'll put that right in
revkeithsmith.com.
Okay.
And you can see that there. You can click a link that will take you straight to Amazon. So there you are. It's on Amazon and Kindle. You can purchase.
Now, are you going to do the voice for the audiobook version?
Man, everybody's asking me that.
See?
I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, you should think about it. Obviously, you have a wonderful voice.
Oh, thanks, Drake.
But
a lot of people have asked me that.
A lot of people do that. I never get that much time in one space to sit through an audiobook anymore, but I used to. When I used to travel driving to some conference or whatever.
Well, I know a guy's got some great audio equipment, so.
But it's expensive though. Let me just say, happy to help, by the way, if you need that.
Yeah,
Well, God bless you. Thanks for bringing the book.
Thank you for having me.
Coming by, and the next time you're not in Uganda or wherever, stop by.
Absolutely, I will. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
You know, Peyton, I'm pretty proud of the work we do here on the podcast and how many people tune in each week.
I agree, Kendall. It's a great way to see what's going on around Houston County and hear from people in the news.
It can also be a great way for your business to be seen by thousands of people right here. People who can be your customers.
Exactly. We create a custom-made video commercial for your business, something unique in East Texas. Then you decide when to run it. Every week, once a month, whatever works best for your business.
So if it's your first time to see us, welcome. You are joining thousands of others here, enjoying seeing everything from news to interviews to everything else going around us.
So reach out, send us a message or an email, and let's get your business talking to your neighbors too, right here on Houston County News.
Well, folks, before you go, I actually had a joke on today's podcast, but Kendall.
Yes.
You said you might have a joke as well.
I do.
And I'm always the one telling the jokes. So I thought, okay.
Okay.
So Kendall is actually going to tell us this joke. And as you hear my roaring laughter, she'll wish you all a good rest of your week. Kendall.
Yes. Alrighty, guys. The joke for this week is, how do you make a tissue dance? You put a little boogie in it.
Okay, that's still better than half of mine, I'm ashamed to admit. That's, oh, good Lord. We'll get better.
We will. It's a work in progress.
Say I write jokes. Can we find a way to make these better?
Thank y'all so much for watching this week's podcast. Please tune in for next week, and we will see y'all then. Bye.